So just to give a little background, I'm Dave Goris, Senior Supply Chain Project Manager with Proximo. I've been with Proximo about 4.5 years. Actually go back and forth between Buffalo, New York is my home, or Grand Island, New York, and I have an apartment in Jersey City working for Proximo. I came to Proximo as a Senior Supply Chain Manager responsible for doing the demand plan for our spirits. We have some pretty good brands, 1800 Tequila, Jose Cuervo Tequila, 3 Owls Vodka. We're into whiskeys now. If anybody's tried Pendleton out on the West Coast, we now own that brand. Tin Cup and Stranahan's in Colorado. Some other ones I'd highly recommend.
Excuse me, do you have free handouts?
Unfortunately, I don't. They don't allow us to carry. I can't bring that on the plane. That's one of the things.
You can ship it ahead of time.
We could ship it. You're right. So we've grown from, we were founded in 2007, basically as the marketing subsidiary for the U.S. and Canada of Grupo Cuervo. So basically Jose Cuervo. It's a privately held company. They did go partially public in Mexico about a year ago. Proximo has grown from 0 in 2007 to now being slightly over $1 billion a year in sales. So a pretty, dramatic growth in 10 years. Just 2 weeks ago, our company president, who's been with the company since 2007, has announced he's leaving to go with somebody else that left the company and another spirits company. His motion, or he's been going like every 10 years. He has one spirits company, goes another one, so he's got his 10-year itch and out he goes, so someone else new will be coming in. But from what we've done with Halo, we were, and still are to some extent, an Excel-based planning company, which drove me absolutely nuts. I mean, that's what I was doing. I was taking data from VIP, which is a company up in Vermont, Vermont Information Processing, which in the spirits industry, it's a 3-tier system. We're a manufacturer supplier. We cannot sell direct to the stores that you buy product from. It has to go through a distributor. So what we worked with Halo to do is basically create a very sophisticated, and Hendra, I'm surprised his hair is not as gray as mine. He started out with dark hair. He still has dark hair, to his credit. Mine, I think, has gotten more gray over the last 2 years. So it's been a 2-year project that we've been working on. We're at the point now where I'm actually going into Forecast Editor, which Hendra mentioned. We actually make some adjustments that are coming from the sales organization. Our goal is to get the sales organization to actually put in their adjustments to the forecast direct into Halo. We're just working right now on doing it through one of the 17 Excel files that we put out an FTP site that we're bringing in. So our data ERP system is SAP. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's actually housed in Mexico. So that's one of the challenges that we have. We go in at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Mexico updates at 3, we run at 5 o'clock. So we have to transfer. They've copied their SAP database because they won't let us into a special Halo SAP database, which when we go through and pull the data down. That was a lot of fun too, as far as defining the fields to go after in SAP in order to make this work. But we've basically done, let's see, is this next on this one? We've implemented a bottom-up forecasting process. Basically we're starting at the SKU level, and we have about 1,200 SKUs, which we've also created a parent SKU to, because one of the things that we've done as they've introduced new products or variations in the products, instead of using a revision, they create a new SKU, which has caused just all kinds of fun for us. Also, we deal with distributors. Again, it's 3-tier system, so we have control states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Vermont, where the government basically is the one that reaps the profit of the sales from the distributor level down to the retailer, versus the open states. Most states in the country now, whatever that balance is, 33 are open states. So we sell through the distributor and then on to the retailer. But we're basically tracking anything that goes from the distributor level or the state level is considered a depletion. So we're importing again, through an FTP file that's put out there by VIP, the depletion history on a daily basis. We actually start with inventory from the end of the prior year and do a roll forward, a projection each month based on the shipments we make coming out of SAP, the depletions that are reported out of VIP, and then we basically do that math. What kind of math is it, Hendra? Roll forward, but what would Steve say? It's not the old math, it's not the new math, it's just math. This is the guy I report to. So we standardize the SKUs and distributors using a parent concept. So if there's an old distributor, new distributor, it rolls up to a parent distributor, and the same thing with the SKUs. Our attempt is going to be to manage inventory in days down to the product, SKU, and distributor level. And I mentioned the three different tiers that we have. I'm going to show you the dashboard that we created. Up in the upper left-hand corner, we have the distributors. This is actually rolled up to the market level. Even though we're collecting the data at the distributor level, we do these roll-ups to market. This is where our sales organization is working, and this is where that input that's going to be coming in from the sales. Currently, we're pulling that in a spreadsheet in Excel. We are going to have them working at the market and then the brand level. This actually is a SKU level roll-up. So on the left-hand side, it's the market we're dealing with. We recently added ABC code in there as a stratification so that from a demand planning standpoint, we can recognize the more important SKUs at the A level versus the B level versus the C level. Our product, if you go out and buy alcohol, you get the 750s, the 1.75s, the 1 liters. It's a way that we can also differentiate and actually forecast at those levels. And then at the bottom, this is we've got distributors, we've got the bailment, and then we have distributor DI. Because we're part of Jose Cuervo, Mexico, there are a number of accounts around the country that actually we have direct imports. So we'll buy full truckloads of a specific tequila or something that's out of Mexico. So we had to set up another designation to handle those because the planning is different. From the standpoint of what we're getting on this bottom chart, the depletion history, year -2, obviously is 2016, right? And 2017 is the most recent year history. The forecast is generated through Halo. Beginning inventory, this is that roll forward that I mentioned at the distributor level. We take a snapshot from VIP at 12/31 of the previous year and use that to roll the inventory forward throughout the year. The reason that we do that is my boss, through experience in telling us this, right, Endra, is not comfortable that when we ship a product out, say it's the third week of the month, that's going to be received through the distributor and in the system by the time we do the planning for us. He doesn't want to take the new information out of VIP because he's tracked and said it's not accurate. What happens from the spirit standpoint, our big push is in from pre-Thanksgiving to Christmas. You sell the most product for those holidays. And typically in the spirits industry, pretty much shuts down once you get to Christmas, so there's no shipments take place. So if you're going to take a snapshot of the inventory, the best time to do it is going to be right at the end of the year, and then we can use that to roll forward. So then we have the beginning inventory as of January, or this is now has been rolled forward, but target inventory, we have a table set up where within the distributors, we expect the distributors to hold roughly 60 days inventory across the board on all the products. So we've basically put in there a factor that says, make the planning come out to the target inventory, which is the next 3 months, divide by 90 times 60, if it's going to be 60 days, for example. Then we do a calculation and say, okay, for the distributor, how much inventory are they holding versus what's the target inventory, and then what are the required orders to meet that. So basically what we're doing it for the bailment, the distributor, and the DI, each of those separately, rolling them all up into the required orders. Open orders, in this case, is what we have orders in the system to be shipped to the distributors or to the open states. New orders is what the difference is between what the required are versus what we actually have. And then shipped orders is something, is basically what's already come out. Then we take it and say, okay, so that's the demand part of it. So what's the supply part? When we get the PSI inventory, PSI stands for Proximo Spirits Incorporated. So that's our inventory in our distribution center in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. We do the same thing as far as setting a target. And what we've done is for the A items, we set it at 30 days, B items set at 60, and then B is 60, and then C is 90 days. So it's doing the calculation behind the scene for each of those SKUs. And then for this particular one, it rolls it up and says, you know, PSI needs to have 69,000. We've got open POs of 27 right now from a supply standpoint. So in order to meet all the plan for this month, we need to put in new purchase orders of 42,000. So basically we've taken from VIP to say what the demand history has been, what the requirements are in the, basically out to the suppliers in the field, rolled that forward and say, okay, if that is the requirement to go out to the field, how much does PSI have in inventory, and therefore how much do we need to make? So this is just one SKU of all of them. So this is the snapshot that shows that. This is probably a culmination of what, 8-10 months of work?
I mean, it sounds very simple, but if you look at the distributor that Dave has mentioned, we have distributor, we have open state, we have bailment, and distributor direct import. Behind the scene, those are all three different sets of calculations because how they identify inventory is just slightly different compared to one to the other. So what we do is, once we create these three separate, from a demand perspective, once we create these three separate calculations, once we convert it into PSI inventory, then we combine, we aggregate into one, we kind of get rid of all the distributor because all we need to know right now is, wait, we have a demand, how do we achieve it? If we can meet the demand from the PSI side, and that's what the PSI inventory from the supply side. But yeah, it has been a very fun project.
It's still going, right?
Oh, absolutely. And more on the way.